Hey, 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 look what I brought to show and tell today for the class. Split green peas. That's right, this is what you're gonna have to start getting used to. Steak, hamburgers, chicken breast? Hell no, you ain't gonna be able to afford that crap in Trump's economy. You get to be eating good old beans again. Good thing is, though, it does have a lot of protein in there. It's got 10 grams of protein for every 3 tablespoons. Now, it's 3 tablespoons dry, so I guess that would be about 10 tablespoons wet, however big 10 tablespoons is. It's got 10% of your iron in there. It's got a lot of good stuff for you. So yeah, this is going to be now part of our tech education series, How to Feed Yourself as a Geek in the middle of an economic apocalypse that has been brought down on your country by a senile old loser. Don't worry, I've had a lot of experience being poor because of stupid people in positions of authority. Anyways, yeah, that's right. But you know what the ironic thing about this is? You know what the ironic thing about this thing is? I was looking at this and I was trying to come up with a joke. Like, what is the joke here? And then I looked down at the bottom and I realized you might not actually be able to eat split green peas. Not simply because it's organic. I mean, you got to understand, people like me will be able to eat the organic split green peas. But do you know what makes this whole bit even funnier? What really just puts the cherry on the top of the sundae of the stupidity, insane environment we're currently in? If you guessed, now this is in fact a product of Canada, you would be correct. So yeah, you're not going to be able to afford a strong American beef, and you're also not going to be able to buy weak Canadian split green peas. But hey, as long as you starve to death for the right reasons, that is far better than living a good life for the wrong ones. So yeah, not even a joke. Product of Canada. We don't even make our own split peas anymore. What has the world come to? It's gonna get bad, boys and girls. It's gonna get so bad. I was talking to yesterday I do these little one-on-one things with students. And I was talking to one of the students yesterday, and they're thinking about switching jobs. And I just kept having to reiterate to the guy. I was like, look, man, when the economy goes sideways, man, it just goes sideways in weird ways, right? Like there's a whole generation of adults with kids and houses and the whole 9 yards that have basically been in a bull market. Now I know for some people, the world has not been great and it's not been wonderful, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it. Whine, whine, bitch, bitch, moan, moan. We see you. Anyways, but there are a huge number of people out there that essentially only been an adult in a bull market. Again, from 2009 to 2025, basically up. Even when everything was supposed to go to hell with COVID, even in 2020 when everything was supposed to go to hell with COVID, it still kept going up for some gosh darn reason, right? And so you have, again, think about this. So that is 16 years. So if you were 18 in 2009, that means you're 34 years old today. Again, a house, kids, all of that kind of stuff, right? If you were in college beforehand, let's say you went to college in 2005, you came out in 2009, it was a crappy job market, but you're a new college graduate anyway, so it's always gonna be a crappy job market for you, right? You could be 38. We could have people almost 40 years old that have never seen the economy just go, ah! They have never had the pleasure of the economy going through a blue screen of death. They may have never even seen a blue screen of death. Anyways, it'll get weird. Again, 100% tariffs now on movies. He wants to tariff movies. And if you think that's where the tariffs are going to end, You're out of your mind. Again, I put $5 on the table. I put $5 on the table. This jackass tries to start tariffing the code products that get created overseas. If you have a development company and you hire a Brazilian subcontracting firm or a Ukrainian subcontracting firm to create a module for you, that's a product, right? If Ford goes to Brazil and has a company produce a sprocket in Brazil and ship it here, right? Obviously, there should be a tariff on that. Well, if you're a development company and you have a company in Brazil create a module for the product that you're creating, or front end for the product that you're creating, how is that really any different than a sprocket? What happens to development companies when they get hit by 100% tariffs? By a guy who has no grasp of how the modern logistics system works. He still thinks he's winning. He still thinks he's winning. Oh, Lord. We are all screwed. So yeah, stock up on your Canadian split peas now, while you still can buy them. So anyways, as you may or may not know, I am known as Eli the Computer Guy. My pride and joy is something called SiliconDojo.com. The idea is, what if high-quality technology education was simply as accessible as water? So we have self-study courses there. We have the new Introduction to Programming series. We have Introduction to Python series. We have SQL. And we have something called the Bottle Web App Framework. I'm about to start a whole bunch of series on AI things. Now that I've kind of got those basic things down, we're going to start doing more stuff on artificial intelligence. And basically, you just go there, you sign up for the classes, and you take them, right? Because providing education is actually dirt cheap. I'm just gonna put it out there. Creating and providing education is dirt cheap. I pay Wix $12 whole a month for that website. And then I post my videos to YouTube. So my infrastructure, well, I do actually do email blasts. So my infrastructure cost is $40 a month, $40 a month. To continue to provide you SiliconDojo.com. And then in order to create the classes, it's whatever it costs me to sit here in front of a camera. Again, I got a $2,000 camera that's like 6 years old. I do have a pretty nice new computer. That was $3,000 about 2 years ago. I have a light. But I want you to think about that. Again, when we talk about modern education, when you think about going into debt for $100,000 in our modern education system, what I want you to understand, again, whether you really like me, whether you dislike me, whether you think I'm a good teacher, whether you think I'm a shit teacher, I just want you to understand, like when you go to SiliconDojo.com, that is $40 a month on upkeep cost. And everything that I, like the equipment that I need to produce that. Again, I've got an iPad, so $1,000, $3,000, $1,000, $4,000, $6,000, and $100, whatever. So for about $7,000. Again, I actually buy good equipment. I got a nice Sony camera and I got an M2 MacBook Pro here. So anyways, $7,000 in equipment cost, $40 a month in upkeep cost, and I can create those classes for you. And even if you think I'm a garbage teacher, even if you think I'm just a god-awful garbage teacher, the syllabus doesn't make a goddamn bit of sense, the whole 9 yards, just realize a good teacher could use the exact same setup that I have, and for that cost. Now think about that. Think about that for a second. And then think about going $100,000 into debt for a college education. And ask yourself if the modern American education system gives one good goddamn about young people. Ask yourself why the modern education system is so hell-bent on destroying a generation of Americans, of putting a generation of Americans immediately into debt as young adults with education that does not actually even give them good jobs. Questions to ask. Anyways, but we have the self-study things there. We do one-on-one, so I do one-on-one conversations with students every Monday between 1 to 5. We do anywhere between 4 to 6 of those per week. And we also do group sessions on Zoom. So we're having a CEO of a software development company come on Friday. So Friday he'll be coming on, and we'll talk about what it's like to run a software development company and what the modern world looks like and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's what I do with SiliconDojo.com. You can go there. You cannot go there. Whatever. It exists. So anyways, with that, let's talk about TikTok. Let's talk about TikTok. Again, one of the most evil things that has happened to our country, right? Our number one strategic concern against China is TikTok. And you know TikTok is dangerous. Per Trump's executive order showing you how dangerous TikTok is. Executive order, right? And to be clear, this is White House. This is the White House. This is real. This is real. Executive order on addressing the threat posed by TikTok. Let's see here. By the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the National Emergencies Act, and Section 301 of Title III United States Code, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, find that additional steps must be taken to deal with the national emergency with respect to the information and communications technology and services supply chain declared in executive order blah blah blah, specifically the spread in the United States of mobile applications developed and owned by companies in the People's Republic of China continues to threaten the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. At this time, action must be taken to address the threat posed by one mobile application in particular. Strong words from a decisive leader. Donald J. Trump has seen the danger of the People's Republic of China against the United States, and China is using their weapon of TikTok to compromise our entire system. Again, I do find it funny when we talk about China or when we talk about Russia, right? Russia spent $10 million during the 2016 election cycle, and we were told that had the threat to destabilize democracy, right? We're spending $2 trillion now. It was $1 trillion. I think we're now spending $2 trillion on the F-35 weapons platform. One stealth airplane weapons platform, we're spending somewhere between $1 to $2 trillion on over its lifetime. To be clear, over its lifetime, it's decades of lifetime, but over its lifetime, $1 to $2 trillion on a single weapons platform. That doesn't include 13 aircraft carriers. That doesn't include tanks and all that kind of stuff. And yet we're told by our government, by our officials, that the threat to democracy comes from $10 million in Facebook ads. Yes, nothing makes me feel more comfortable about my country than knowing we can be destroyed by Facebook ads. Again, we hear that now with hypersonic weapons, right? We're spending so much money on hypersonic weapons. We've got hypersonic missiles we're creating. They're trying to create hypersonic bombers so they can fly at hypersonic speed, drop the bombs, and leave in hypersonic speed. We're told about all this stuff. And that is being created in order to defend ourselves from the power of 13-year-olds twerking. Eli, we may have hypersonic missiles, but the China man's got 13-year-olds twerking. And this, again, as an American, is where I just get frustrated. This is where I get frustrated because, one of two things is true. Either you're all fucking idiot, or our politicians are fucking idiots, or our strategic posture is just all screwed up. If you're telling me we're spending $2 trillion on weapon systems and our entire country can be taken out by fucking TikTok videos and Facebook ads, I feel as if the military establishment might not be up to speed for 2025. I'm just gonna put it out there. Anyways, TikTok, a video sharing mobile application owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, has reportedly been downloaded over 175 million times in the United States and over 1 billion times globally. TikTok automatically captures vast swaths of information from its users, including internet and other network activity, such as location data and browsing and search histories. This data collection threatens to allow the Chinese Communist Party access to Americans' personal and proprietary information, potentially allowing China to track the locations of federal employees and contractors, build dossiers of personal information for blackmail, and conduct corporate espionage. Strong words. TikTok also reportedly censors content that the Chinese Communist Party deems politically sensitive, such as blase, blase, blase. This mobile application may also be used for disinformation campaigns that benefit the Chinese Communist Party, such as when TikTok videos spread debunked conspiracy theories about the origins of the 2019 coronavirus. These risks are real. The Department of Homeland Security, Transportation Security Administration, and the United States Armed Forces have already banned the use of TikTok on federal government phones. The government of India recently banned the use of TikTok and other Chinese mobile applications throughout the country. In a statement, India's Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology asserted that they were, quote, stealing and surreptitiously transmitting users' data in an unauthorized manner to servers which have locations outside India. American companies and organizations have begun banning TikTok on their devices. The United States must take aggressive action against the owners of TikTok to protect our national security. And I know. You know, most of the time we're supposed to have TDS, Trump Derangement System. It's as those of us who care about the world and all that kind of stuff, we are supposed to hate Trump no matter what he does. But I have to say, with a strong message like this, how can I not be a proud American? We see the threat. The threat is the Chinese Communist Party. They are attacking us with TikTok, and we must take aggressive action against TikTok to protect our country. Donald J. Trump understands the threat, and he is willing to go after it. But, it's one of my videos. See, another shoe is about to drop. Do you want to, I don't know, do you want to just place a guess on when that executive order was published? If your guess was August 6th, 2020, you would be correct. So literally, because we are in May, I'm recording this in May, we are literally almost 5 years from when we were told that TikTok is a threat to the United States and we must take aggressive action against TikTok. I mean, we must take aggressive action against TikTok. At some point. Anyways, I screamed about this back then. If you follow me for a long time, I thought this was stupid. He was trying to ban TikTok through an executive order. And as I said back then with executive orders, that's not how executive orders are supposed to work, boys and girls. But anyways, so he tries to put this through. It did not get what he wanted. And so he kind of forgot about it. Like literally, it was hilarious when this was going through. It was like November. And TikTok had to petition the judge in the case because the government had basically stopped prosecuting. Like they hadn't dropped the case, but they had stopped moving forward with the case at the exact same time. And TikTok was kind of like, what the fuck? We're gonna ban you! And TikTok got all their lawyers together and all that kind of stuff, and they're willing to fight the fight. And then Trump kind of forgot about it, right? So anyways, that kind of died on the vine because again, it was an executive order that, Trump forgot about. Anyways, then in the United States, the one thing that we hold to be self-evident is that China man bad. Why is China man bad? I don't know. There's 9-dash lines. They're not nice to people. They build our stuff too inexpensively. I don't know. Pick your reasons for why China man is. There's so many reasons China man is bad. Anyways, and so we get the Biden administration. And so again, the thing that has to continue to be true is that we have to have an anti-China policy, whether or not it makes a damn bit of sense. Because at the end of the day, right, Americans have to go off to slaughter Chinese people. And again, one of the reasons I get so frustrated about this is what they're leading us up to. This is what they're leading us up to. They're leading us, trying to drag us in a war against China. They want American soldiers killing Chinese folks. And I'll just remind people, like, well, that doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, but downrange is in the eye of the beholder. There's that moment in life when you're sitting there with your weapon and you realize, oh, their downrange is me. Fuck. There's just that moment. You just have that moment of, oh, downrange is dependent on who's looking. Anywho. And again, they keep us on this march to get into war with China. Again, you have Obama administration, the Pacific pivot, point our military towards them, Trans-Pacific Partnership, economically trying to isolate them. Again, a lot of this other stuff. And the whole idea is China is the boogeyman. Again, as an American, I'm not saying China's perfect. I'm not saying China's perfect. Again, I understand, like, maybe not having a free trade agreement with them, but I don't kill any China people, and I sure as hell don't want my people killed by the Chinese. And even if we did attack China, I'm not really sure what the hell we get out of it. I mean, like, we couldn't figure out what the fuck to do with Iraq. I just want people to understand that too when they talk about it, because in the U.S. again, you hear this in the news so much. Again, about our aircraft carriers and our new hypersonic weapons and our new stealth aircraft, and it's all about like being able to attack China. Here's the deal. We didn't know what the fuck to do with Iraq. We shocked and awed the crap out of Iraq. And how did that do for us? I don't even know. We don't even talk about it anymore. Right? The folks in pajamas in Afghanistan whooped our ass. I just want to be crystal clear here, and this is no disgrace to our soldiers, it's all the disgrace in the world to our politicians, but because of our insane politicians, folks in fucking underoos whipped the shit out of the U.S. military complex. And I'm just saying, if the goddamn Taliban can whip the shit out of us, I'm not really sure why the hell we want to get into a war with China. I'm just gonna put that out there. But anyways, right, that's the big push. And so when Biden comes in, right, the most important thing is to remind people how dangerous China is because twerking, whatever. And so they actually passed this law through. So they took this dumbass executive order and they turned it into a law, right? They passed it through the House of Representatives and they passed it through the Senate, and Biden signed the dotted line. Again, it was weird with Biden, like, because the only things we're told is how bad Trump was as president. I miss those days. Can we get Trump 1 back? Anyways, we were told how bad he was president. But one of the curious things was how much of Trump's policies Biden fucking continued. Again, everything from tariffs on China to trying to get rid of TikTok and the whole 9 yards. Anyway, so he signed off, and basically the idea was that, I think they had 180 days originally. TikTok or ByteDance had to divest themselves of TikTok within 180 days, or basically TikTok would be shut down in the United States, period, right? And so ByteDance is the Chinese company that owns TikTok, just like Google or Alphabet owns YouTube, same type of deal. And so the idea is we can't deal with the risk of a Chinese company owning TikTok and seeing our 13-year-olds twerk. So Biden pushed this through. The big thing is it was supposed to come into effect, or it did come into effect for like a day or something, right before Trump came into office. And then Trump started pausing it. So we get this. So August 6th, 2020, 5 years ago at this point, so when the executive order goes through, the Congress and Biden actually pass a law to force the divestiture of TikTok. 4 years later, right? 4 years later. I mean, this is such a national security threat. It took 4 years for them to get around to it. And then the interesting thing now is apparently Trump likes TikTok. Trump likes the existential threat to the United States. I'll just put that out there. Trump has a warm spot for an existential threat to the United States. And this is Fox News. This is Fox. I'm actually pulling this from Fox just to... Anyways. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I have derangement syndrome brought on by Trump. Trump just made me... I don't even... Like how... Like you have an executive order where you say this is a threat to the United States. And then you come out and say, well, I have a little warm spot. President Trump vows to extend TikTok ban deadline until a deal is struck. Quote, perhaps I shouldn't say this, but I have a little warm spot in my heart for TikTok, Trump said Sunday. On Fox. On Fox. So we go here, take a look at this. President Donald Trump vowed to extend the deadline for the TikTok ban until a deal is struck to sell the Chinese-owned media app to a U.S. owner, saying in an interview on Sunday that he has a warm spot in his heart for it. He literally has a warm spot in his heart for a national security threat. Oh, God. Quote, I'd like to see it done. I have a little sweet spot in my heart because I won young people by 36 points and I focused on TikTok. That's right. President Donald J. Trump fully supported and endorsed a national security threat so that he could win the presidency. And I'm just going to put this out there. Like, his thing in the executive order was misinformation, right? Where was it? This mobile application may also be used for disinformation campaigns that benefit the Chinese Communist Party. And he's saying that, well, you know, TikTok really helped him in the election. Anyways. Let's see here. President Biden signed the so-called TikTok ban into law in April 2024. So last year, the law stipulated that unless CCP-linked parent company ByteDance divests itself from the app and sells it to its stake to a U.S. owner or company, TikTok would be outlawed in the United States as of January 19th, 2025. Trump extended the ban by 75 days via executive order on his first day in office and recently extended the ban another 75 days. Quote, perhaps I shouldn't say this, but I have a warm spot in my heart. The Chinese-owned app briefly went dark for 24 hours in January when the law was set to take effect. Apple and Google removed TikTok from their app stores. Quote, we regret a U.S. law banning TikTok will take effect on January 19th and force us to make our services temporarily unavailable. We're working to restore our service in the U.S. as soon as possible, and we appreciate your support. Please stay tuned. The app, which boasts 170 million U.S. users, displayed in a pop-up message. So they actually did go dark, right? So this happened, right? They get banned, they actually went dark, and Trump brought them back. TikTok resumed service a day later when Trump put out a statement on Truth Social vowing to extend the deadline for the ban and ensuring that companies that did business with the app would be shielded from liability. TikTok thanked then-President-elect Trump in a statement upon resuming service. Apple and Google later restored the social networking app to their app stores. So, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, is protecting a national security threat. Trump vowed to welcome that the app would be protected, and he said he wants to see a deal for the social media app finalized, blase, blase. Quote from Trump, is it so important for China to be spying on young people watching crazy videos? Trump asked Fox News' Sean Hannity when asked about the app in January. So we were told in August of 2020 that this is a national security threat, and that's why it had to be banned by executive order. Goes all the way through Congress, all the way to the president under Biden, right, for the law to actually be passed. And now all of a sudden Trump is like, well, is it so important for China to be spying on young people watching crazy videos? Let's see here. No, I guess that's the end. I thought there was more to it. But yeah, so basically, Trump is now extending the ban so that a deal can, be created at some point in the future when he decides that it's appropriate. When? Who the hell knows? What are the metrics? What are we going off of? Who the hell knows? We just know that Donald Trump has a soft spot in his heart for a national security threat. And why I bring this up, right? I've been talking about this whole Chinaman thing, right, for a while, and people get mad. But what I wanted you to see is the storyline of the idiocy. When you're told the reason we have to have a 145% tariff on China is because they're the threat. When you see the TikTok ban, why do we have to do this? Because they're the threat. When you see that we have to spend trillions of dollars on hypersonic missile systems and all that kind of stuff because China is the threat. What I want you to show you is how empty the argument is. That basically what this is they want us to go to war with China. They are desperate for Americans to slaughter the Chinese no matter what the cost is. Ergo, they have to come up with any kind of argument that seems like it's appropriate for us to slaughter the Chinese. But then as soon as it becomes a wee bit inconvenient, all of a sudden, you see the argument has no clothes on. Again, I was talking about this before with TikTok. My argument with TikTok is not even necessarily the TikTok ban. Right? But this was not an overarching protection of American privacy, right? The MIT review, right when this executive order was going through, basically they came out with a paper that showed that you could buy records of active duty American service people for somewhere between 10 to 15 cents a pop. They literally purchased records about active duty American military personnel using .Asia email addresses and were able to purchase those records in bulk, right? So TikTok, we are told TikTok is a risk to this country, but somebody being able to buy records about our active duty personnel for 15 cents a pop with .Asia email addresses, well, that's the capitalist way. Right? What's the value of an American soldier's life as far as our politicians are concerned? Apparently 15 effing cents. Right? And so that's the thing. Like when they were pushing through this TikTok ban, this was not privacy policies. This was not a framework for privacy of Americans on these digital systems. Like this would be a part of Facebook, and this would be a part of Instagram, and this would be part of Snap and Twitter and the rest of this. This was not saying we realize the privacy of the American people is vital to this country. Therefore, we are going to create a legal framework to start actually making privacy something that can be protected. They didn't do that. And in that, right, TikTok is an entity of special concern. Right? But they didn't do that. They don't give a damn about our privacy. They don't give a damn about our lives. They don't care about any of it. All they care about is scoring a couple of points in a stupid ass game to get us marching down a line to get into a war with China. And again, Trump is coming out, and Trump shows you the idiocy here. 1 minute, they're a national security risk, vital national security risk that has to be dealt with. The next minute, he's like, oh, what the Chinese people? Oh, teenagers watching stupid videos on an app. Oh, why would the Chinese care about that? Right? It shows you the abject insanity going on. So anyways, I don't know what to do. What are you going to do? And again, it becomes interesting, as an American and for the rest of us. What do you do with these policies when they seem to have no basis in reality? Right? Because that's the whole thing, right? Like you can agree with policies or disagree with policies, but if they seem to have a logical basis, you can figure out what to do next. Right? You're like, I disagree with this person. I think they're dumb as donkey balls. But I don't know. I guess if I squint my eye, I can see where you get from A to B to C. Right? But with this, you see, these policies are just being driven by literal senility. They don't understand the systems. They don't care about the systems. They don't understand Americans. They don't give a shit about Americans. Right? They're just pushing these policies ahead because somehow in their senile minds, they think they're winning this idiotic game. Again, the whole thing with keeping China from being able to buy our GPUs and our AI chips. Right? Huawei is literally spinning up factories. Again, it's interesting. Maybe we'll do another article about it. Get tired about talking good things about Huawei, right? But you know, Huawei is creating a factory for their 7 nanometer processors and their new AI chips, right? But the interesting thing is not only are they creating a factory, they are putting it in a hub. So basically, not only is their factory there, but basically the suppliers for their factory are all around it, right? Oh, you need a PCB board, buy one from them. Oh, you need these connectors, buy one from them, right? It's all there. So not only are we not keeping China from being able to produce AI equipment, right? Not only are we creating a competitor for our own AI equipment and literally tanking sales for NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA had to write down $5.4 billion in sales this year because of this insanity. But beyond that, we're forcing China to out-compete us in this particular market space. And these senile old boomers think they're doing a damn good job. Yep, we're gonna keep those slanty eyes from, rising up to create a civilization that competes with us. Yeah, well, you're fucking insulting them and saying derisive things about them. They're building the fucking factories that are going to crush us. And again, that's where you see, like I say, with the TikTok thing. Again, you're told it's a national security threat. Trump tells you it's a national security threat. Biden tells you it's a national security threat. Our Congress people come out and say, you don't understand. People like Eli, the computer guy, don't understand. And then, Trump decides he kind of likes TikTok. Now I kind of have a warm spot in my heart for this national security risk. And all of a sudden, it's not that big a deal. Anyways, we're stuck with these yahoos. We are stuck with these yahoos. So yeah, so what do you think about this? What do you think about Trump extending the TikTok deadline? What do you think about Trump? Trump was the one to create the executive order to talk about it being a national security threat, right? And a center for misinformation, And then weirdly, do you find that weird? It's so weird how he came out and said it was a center for misinformation, and then afterwards he credits it for winning him the election. Funny that. It's almost like he doesn't expect anybody to actually listen to his words ever and put 2 and 2 together. I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about this whole anti-China thing? Again, as an American, we're day after day after day, we're told like China is this massive threat to us. Again, they've got their 9-dash line. Again, is the 9-dash line stupid? Probably. But you know what I like about the 9-dash line? It stops way the fuck over there. You know, the only thing worse than a 9-dash line is having no lines at all, right? Our military is being used in the Middle East, our equipment's being used in Ukraine, Africa, Asia, South America, right? Our military personnel and equipment is literally all over the world, right? We literally call Japan, right? It's the unsinkable aircraft carrier. And again, the big thing is, to contain China. And then China has this dumbass 9-dash line. We're like, oh no, not a 9-dash line. That's entirely in the South China Sea. Like literally, it doesn't even expand beyond Japan. Like, again, when you hear about the 9-dash line, it's not like this weird thing that like way extends out. It's not like it envelops, Japan and all this other stuff. No, it stops before Japan. It's just in the South China Sea. It's like, there's a 9-dash line. They're like, oh, that's why they're an existential threat to us. It's like, I don't know, if I was Japanese, I would definitely be concerned. The Japanese should definitely be concerned about. Taiwanese, hell yeah, you should be concerned about that. American, I don't care. I literally do not care. Not an ounce of this do I give two shits about. But anywho, Chinaman bad. Why? Because they're Chinaman. If you gotta ask why Chinaman bad, that means you're a traitor. It's like, wow, this is the level argument we are currently having in the United States. Wonderful. This is just wonderful. So anyways, what do you think about this? And again, what I talk about like with the insanity of it is how do you plan for the future? Again, everything from marketing spends to just creating businesses and the rest of it. Again, like if you're a tech company now and you have to import goods, and now again, you've got a tariff rate up at 145%. That's going to be there for some length of time. How do you figure out what your business is going to be? And he's already said it's going to go down. He already has stated the war that he's created is unsustainable. That's right, boys and girls. We are going to win at losing yet another war. We lost Vietnam, we lost Iraq, we lost Afghanistan, we lost the war on drugs, we lost the war on homelessness, and now we're going to lose a trade war. We are going to be number one for fucking losing shit. And I'll admit, Trump said that we're going to get tired of winning. Yes, if this is what winning looks like, I'm already exhausted from it, right? But the thing is, it's like, so we got 145% tariffs that just came about basically overnight. He literally says that those are unsustainable. So we know those tariffs are going to come down, but we have no idea when they're going to come down or by how much they're going to come down. Again, tariffing Hollywood movie, like when the hell did that even go on the table? From a national security standpoint, tariffing Hollywood movies. What the fucking sanity is that? And the issue, and that's what you got to be thinking about. I mean, think about all the systems that you use. Think about all the vendors that you use, right? For most development companies, for most computer folks, like you don't really actually think about supply chain that much, right? Even if you're dealing with hardware or whatever, what's your supply chain? Newegg. What's your supply chain past Newegg? I don't know. Newegg does magic. I buy shit from Newegg, right? Again, think about like with coding. Like, okay, we need this module created or whatever else. What happens if you get 100% tariff on, code coming into the United States from other places? How would you even be able to calculate that? Would you be able to figure out what's going on? What do you do as a business person in this abject insanity? This is an insane system that this Yahoo is creating. And again, the defanged poodles of the GOP are just sitting back. Because that's where, right? That's where the Congress is supposed to come in, right? The executive enforces the laws. Congress creates the laws. Congress needs to step in to actually yank this bastard's leash and make him motherfucking yelp in front of the goddamn world, right? But instead, they're good little alpha dogs. And I really want you to look at the GOP, and I want you to see why I am disgusted by the concept of alpha males, right? This whole alpha male thing. Because it's pomp. It is circumstance. It is preening for people to see you as something. It's not about doing the work that needs to be done, right? These preening, pompous, fucking Republicans that control the Congress, instead of doing their jobs, they're walking around, yeah, we're with the big guy. And again, where's it gonna get for any of us? Again, you have the CEO of Ford, the largest manufacturer in the United States. The CEO of Ford is having a fucking heart attack right now. But nobody cares. Again, the party of business, right? It's like, the CEO of Ford is having a heart attack. Let him stew. Anyways, so it's gonna get bad. It's gonna be bad. You're gonna remember this video in like 3-4 months. You're gonna remember this video and be like, yeah, remember when I laughed at Eli the computer guy talking about split green peas? You're like, damn, I wish I could get some of those split green peas, but they come from Canada. Yeah. You're gonna be eating stone soup, all right. I don't know, Eli the computer guy, he kept talking about this stone soup. What do you think stone soup's made out of? I don't know. Maybe you should figure out how that one works. Yeah, you're gonna wish you had green peas. So yeah. What do you? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. Oh, you know, it was really funny. It's really funny to laugh at the Brits. Oh, it was a good joke. You know, talking about, you know, how the sun never set on the British Empire. Well, then I used to joke, you know, what it must be like to be of this generation as a Brit, as you see the sun set on your empire, right? Your grandparents were part of an empire that the sun never set on, and within probably a decade or so, you're not even going to be able to in control of the entire island. You're gonna have like half an island pretty soon. 100 years ago, an empire that spanned the world. 10 years from now, you're gonna have half a damn island. Anyways, it used to be fun. It used to be funny to laugh at the Brits. I really liked laughing at the Brits, I gotta say. Yeah, it doesn't feel so good when it happens to you, though. You know, when somebody else gets a wedgie, that's pretty funny. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, when you get a wedgie, just not so amusing. I feel like we're just getting an existential political wedgie right now. And yeah, I wonder where this crap show went. We're barely 100 days into his presidency. That's the thing, like with most presidencies, you're like, well, you know, we're 2 years into it. We've only got another 2 years to get through. Or 3 years, again, with like Biden. Biden was really starting to go off the deep end 3 years in. But you're like, oh, we only got 1 more year to deal with this jackass. Oh my God. Trump is barely 100 days in. We have almost 4 more years of that. Everything that has happened up until this point in time, we're not even to the 6-month mark. We have so much more time for stupidity. So anyways, put your thoughts down below. What is your favorite recipe for stone soup? What is your recipe for stone soup? Inquiring minds would like to know. Anyways, with that, I'm gonna start creating some classes on artificial intelligence. When we have an economy again, it all comes, it all goes. The Great Depression was horrible, but it went away. It took a while to go away. It took a world war to get it away, but it did go away. So no matter how bad this gets, there will be better times ahead when you will need to be qualified to do work to actually get paid. So I will be doing the classes on AI, artificial intelligence, and they'll be at Silicon Dojo. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta whimper about. See y'all later.